G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another head-to-head. We have the Modlite OKW in the 18650 body and the Surefire EDC2 DFT, which is also an 18650 body. Let's check them out. All right, look at this, a head-to-head. So let's put the batteries in. You are provided with a 3.6 volt, 3,500 milliamp hour, 18650 Modlite branded protected lithium ion rechargeable battery. That goes head first. Thank you very much. And let's go. Okay. And then the EDC2 Surefire has a 3,500 as well, milliamp hour, 3.6 volt with a USB-C, a micro USB opening to charge the battery there. And that can only be installed via the head, not the tail. So the tail cap does come off with this Surefire, but that's only to swap out tail caps. You can't take the battery out, and I'll show you why. Because it won't fit. Alrighty. I forgot to show you, I'll take the heads off again, my mistake. Forgot to show you just the contact areas because there is a bit of a difference. So Modlite has the typical potting. So see the black stuff in the Modlite, that's your typical potting. So that really strengthens the electronics. Nothing's gonna come loose during recoil or anything like that. Now I can't see it, but I am told, that looks like a solid system anyway, but I am told that Surefire uses a type of potting. I don't know, it's definitely not the potting like epoxy potting that that the Modlite's used, but Surefire secures all their electronics. These are made to be put on weapons and made to deal with recoil and stuff like that. So maybe that's a different test for a different day, although I certainly won't be testing recoil on these lights, but I'm sure someone probably has to see which one's better, if any. So now we can put these on and we can really go through the differences. All right, so before we go through the specs differences, let's just kind of have a look at them and get a feel. I gotta say, the Modlite is pretty crazy, man. There's nothing made like this in terms of Modlite. I mean, LZ is very, very tough, maybe tougher, but the finish, the type of, I don't know, aerospace aluminium that they use with this awesome finish. It's like this matte finish that if you drop water on it, it'll just like trickle off. It's so beautiful, so nice to hold as well. But it's chunky compared to the EDC2. It's very, very chunky. The EDC2 has utilized, they've cut all the fat away, haven't they? And this body here is very comfortable to hold, very, very thin. And in my opinion, a better pocketing experience despite it being taller than the Modlite because it's so thin in the body. But then the Modlite has your capabilities to install Theorem Deep Carry or a Theorem Switchback, and it is a shrouded tail cap, so it can tail stand, albeit precariously, it can still tail stand. Whereas the Surefire cannot tail stand, but the Surefire has an extremely nice raised tail switch, which in my opinion is just so easy to connect with. Not that the Modlite's not, but the Surefire is easier, I gotta be honest. Now, next to each other, you can see that the deep carry, the Surefire is lacking in deep carry, absolutely, whereas the Modlite is proper deep carry. It's such a nice system, that. Now, what do we got here? So the Surefire is coming in at about 15 centimeters, and the Modlite's coming in at about 13.5 centimeters. So we do have a nice size difference, to be honest. Like the Modlite is much more compact, although thicker. It is much thicker. Now, I don't know if you noticed, I've got a O-ring here installed, and that's so the Theorem doesn't turn, because otherwise it spins, and I don't like the fact that it spins. I'm sure it spins for a reason, but I hate the fact that it spins. I really do. So now if we just look at reflectors there, so can you see how much more deep the Surefire's reflector is than the Modlite? That is why the Surefire EDC2 is 100,000 Candela and the Modlite is 69,000 Candela. Now, the Modlite has a beautiful beam profile, just like the Surefire, but the Modlite's is pretty perfect. The hotspot's perfect. There's not much bleeding around it, but it's a nice large hotspot at a distance and a very small hotspot at close range. Whereas the Surefire's hotspot is more of a really pinpoint tight hotspot, but with heaps of bleeding around the side to maximize for vision, which is a fantastic system, don't get me wrong. But in terms of aesthetics, the Modlite's beam profile and hotspot is more pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. Not that that should play a role in their performance, but it just had to be said. So now in terms of specs, I'll throw them up on the screen anyway, but I'll just quickly run you through them. So the Modlite OKW on the 18650 body, okay, because that's what we're comparing. It has 680 lumens, 69,000 Candela, 75 minutes of runtime on high, and 10 hours on low. Low is 15% of high, so 15% of 680 lumens. It does not give you a distance, however. The Surefire EDC2 is 700 lumens on high, 25 lumens on low, 2.75 hours of runtime versus 75 minutes, which is it's an hour and 15 minutes, so 1.25. So 2.75 hours of runtime, 46.5 hours of runtime on low, which is the 25 lumens, 100,000 Candela, and 632 meters of throw. So the specs definitely go in the Surefire's favor, 100%. I mean, 2.75 hours of runtime on high as opposed to 1.25 hours of runtime on high. That is an enormous difference. That's more than double on high. Now, one thing the Modlite's got over the Surefire is that the Surefire is a high, low light only. That's it. And not that that's a bad thing, but that's it. Whereas the Modlite is a high and low light, but it's also a high only light. See that? So you can program the Modlite to be high only, in which case you can use it for signaling, you can use it for strobing, you can use it for whatever, or you can program it back. See how easy that is? To high-low. Okay? The Surefire only has high-low. Now, if you're an only high-low type of guy or gal, then great. Surefire, it's no contest. But if you want the ability to have a high only, the Modlite wins, no contest. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of viewers who are, diehard Modlites or diehard Surefires, and I totally get why you would be. But this video is just to show basically the performance of both of them. I do have to say though, Modlite pockets deeper, which I like better. Surefire pockets better because it's thinner. Pockets more comfortably, I should say. Modlite tail stand, Surefire cannot. Modlite can have a switchback installed, Surefire cannot. Modlite has high only capabilities, Surefire does not. But the Modlite is very much lacking in the runtime category, whereas the Surefire is killing it in the runtime category. Both of these lights are compatible with CR123s as well, CR123As. So, just before we go to night shots, in the hand, they're both extremely comfortable. They both feel extremely sturdy. The Modlite feels like a tougher light, feels like it can take more beating and it's not going to break. The Surefire doesn't feel like it's going to break by any means, but it does feel like it's definitely using inferior materials over the Modlite. The Modlite's using superior materials. That's just what I feel. But the Surefire is more comfortable to hold, without a doubt. 100% more comfortable to hold. All right, let's go to the night shots and see how these guys do. See you in a sec. All right, first up, the Surefire. Look at that. So this thing is incredible. This is really impressive, guys. That fence back there is 100 meters away. I think I stepped it out to like literally about 97. And just look at the friggin' hotspot and the clarity of hotspot and the size. The funny thing is the hotspot's actually smaller than the Modlite, but the bleeding around the hotspot makes for a very clear, it honestly gives you the complexion that it is a larger hotspot when it's not. because the actual hotspot is smaller than the Modlite, which you'll see in a moment. But damn, this thing is incredible. I love it. I really love it. There it is. Hotspot, and see all that bleeding? It gives such clarity. Far out. And the run time on this thing's madness. Look at that. And then we'll just go low. So there's low. I do think the Modlite has a more usable low than the Surefire, but we'll check it out. Still useful, but you know, doesn't blow me away. But it's great for really close stuff, isn't it? All right, let's get the Modlite. There it is. I mean, that's just so impressive. Larger hotspot. See there, it is a larger hotspot. Less bleeding, just like hotspot. There is some bleeding, but less. Still getting the top of the tower. Bloody cool. I mean, obviously the benefit of this is programmable, so you can go high only or high low. Now it looks like there's a lot of bleeding in the camera, I can see, but that's weird because it doesn't look like that in real life. It's like just a large hotspot. So that stuff around the hotspot you can't see in real life, I don't know. I mean, you can barely see, but it's just kind of light bouncing off the wall as opposed to actual bleeding, which the Surefire does have. Very cool. Low. See how the low is much more usable from the Modlite? Like, that's really cool still. Larger hotspot, useful up close, but also at a distance. Whereas the Surefire's low is, I think, just more useful up close than at a distance. But again, very useful high. Let's just go a bit of 1 for 1. Surefire, Modlite. Surefire, Modlite. Surefire, Modlite. Yeah, the Surefire wins in my opinion. All right, see ya. All right, so performance. It is difficult because so starting with low modes, I love the low mode of the Modlite much more than the Surefire. The Surefire's low mode is fantastic for really close applications, but if you want to see, 10, 15 meters, the Modlite's where it's at. It's just far more clear. It's too shadowy and dark in the Surefire. Now, in terms of the high mode, I mean, you got to give it to the Surefire, in my opinion, but it's not that the Modlite's not doing its job. It certainly is, and it's a brilliant performing light, but I just think the Surefire outperforms it. And the Surefire, in my opinion, and from what I saw, my observation, is not only it outperforms it, but it outdoes it in runtime as well. So that's pretty big, because that means that you've got a light that shines brighter, goes further, more Candela, and will run for much longer. 1.25 hours on high, 2.75 hours on high. Major difference. But now, you don't have the capability of high only, and you do here. So that's a big plus for the Modlite. Also, the Modlite feels tougher, man. It just does. They're using better materials, in my opinion. And the Modlite's pretty versatile with pocket clips, like the deep carry theorem, the switchback, obviously no pocket clip. It can tail stand. There's a lot of cool stuff there. So I guess it just comes down to what's your preference out of these brands, really. I mean, if you want a light that can also run high only, then forget about the Surefire because it cannot. So you need the Modlite. But if that's not so much of that's probably the main decisive deal breaker, I reckon. And if that's not so much of an issue for you, then it's basically just, do you prefer Modlites or Surefires, to be honest? If I had to choose one, I would definitely go the Surefire, because that runtime is just, I can't beat it. So if I wanted a light to see at a distance for a long period of time, am I going to choose a 1.25 hour runtime light, or am I going to choose a 2.75 hour runtime light? And that's the decisive factor for me. Yep, it is more comfortable, but that's not a deal breaker. It's just nice. Yeah, I think it pockets better because it's slimmer. More of the light is slimmer, whereas the Modlite's quite thick. But again, the Modlite is deeper carry pocketing, which is nice, particularly in jeans. But that's not a deal breaker for me. The thing that draws me to the Surefire, as I've said, it's the runtime. So that's my choice. Now, I bought these from Aquaterro, both of them from Aquaterro. It's a Melbourne-based company. They deal with a lot of like military and law enforcement gear, lights and all sorts of different apparel and stuff like that. Really great people to deal with. You just send them an email, hey, have you got this in stock? And if they do, great. If they don't, they can order it from the States, which is what they did for these guys. So it was, I think the Surefire came in at like $505, including shipping. And then the Modlite was a bit more expensive. It was like $560 or something, I think, or $550, including shipping. So they're not cheap, but in my opinion, they are worth every cent. They really are. They're the top tier lights in their field, and lifetime warranty, very, very tried and true, well-known brands, and they perform like nothing else. So I'm stoked. I got them. But I am going to sell the Modlite and keep the Surefire, because the Surefire is the one I want, and I can't have too many expensive lights, otherwise the channel dies. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, stay cool and stay safe. See ya.